Hello, everyone, and this is Eric Howard and Nancy Frick with Loring Sternberg and Associates, and we're excited to be having another really neat conversation today with the Thurston Family Foundation with Marcia Roberts, the president, and the community relations officer, Tim Thurston. Nancy and I, prior to joining Loring Sternberg, have a long-time relationship with this incredible family foundation that, in my opinion, has shifted the way philanthropy and the interaction with donors and organizations, the landscape, the relationship, the engagement, an incredible impact and a legacy in the Indianapolis community. And so we are incredibly encouraged to have them join us and share what they are noticing and seeing in response to the COVID-19. So thank you to the two of you for carving out the time. I know you guys are busy, so really appreciate that. And for those that may not be familiar with the foundation, because we have folks from the East Coast to the West Coast that are listening, Marcia, can you tell us a little bit about the foundation, its history, and who you guys are?
Absolutely. So our foundation was started by our dad. And Dad ran it, kind of he and Mom on their own for a number of years. Dad passed away in 1998, at which point Mom took over as president. And at that point, she involved the four children, Jim, Tim, Ann, and I, to also be on the board. And Mom passed away last year, so we're kind of in a new phase again. But we're really proud of the fact that in our foundation that when the grandkids reach middle school, they are invited to participate as well. And so we give them a small allotment of money and say, find a 501c3 organization that you feel strongly about. It might be a couple, but they then have been involved for a number of years, trying to learn what philanthropy is all about in your community. So that kind of stemmed from one of the kids overhearing a conversation and just saying, hey, can I be part of that sometime? And we jumped on that. So, we're kind of a third generation now of family members all working to help our community.
Awesome.
That's
beautiful. Marcia, I'm going to direct this call to you. Are you hearing from the organizations that you support? And if you are, what are they saying in terms of their response to the COVID-19 situation we find ourselves in?
We are hearing in a couple different ways. Some have been direct phone calls from organizations that we have supported in the past, or emails reaching out to say, oh my goodness, all of a sudden our students are now at home and they don't have devices to try and continue their education. So we've also received, we're on a number of email and newsletter distributions. And so we try to keep up with those so we can see where the needs are, knowing that the directors of so many of those organizations simply don't always have time to pick up the phone right now and have a phone call. But, I think for so many places, it's just been an overwhelming task now presented to them. I was on a call the other day and the gal who ran Second Helpings was saying normally they were serving 4,000 meals a week and now the need is more like 13,000 meals a week. And so I think it's this overwhelming need to help people find food for their families, to make sure that the rent is paid, utilities are on, and trying best they can to get educational materials into the students. So it's certainly a daunting task for everybody out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. It's the whole new landscape. I don't think there's not a rule book on how to respond to currently what is going on. Tim, what would you offer as an insight to board members who are serving on non-for-profit boards at this time in this season?
Well, thanks, Eric. Appreciate the question. If you're talking about family foundations like ours, we've had success by keeping our board, the three of us, kind of open to new giving ideas. There are a lot of urgencies that are very, very immediate in our communities. And so we've been open to listening to those things. A small donation can go a long way if you are very mindful and intentional as far as where you'd like to give. So we're looking for those new things. A small act, such as helping a, perhaps like a COVID unit in a nursing home or in the hospital, offering up a small donation to help with people to get them food from a local restaurant that has had to shut down. So it's helping really two entities in one. Those are the type of things we're trying to be creative about. And it's those small gestures that just have helped a ton. So there's opportunities that can be found also that have a multiplier effect too. For example, that there might be an offering out there that you could hear of, or if you have the opportunity, be the matcher. You can make find places with matching grants where you can then multiply your effect. Or again, as I said, if you have the opportunity, take that leap of faith and become a matcher. You are, by way of helping out your community, more than you can ever. You'll connect people together. These are the small, kind gestures that are really going to be overwhelmingly remembered more than all the negative data that's coming out regarding this COVID. Now, if you're also talking about the nonprofit organizations, well, first of all, I thank any volunteer who is out there and volunteering their time to be on the board, especially during this time. Hopefully the organizations that like we would support have all been able to receive the paycheck protection package. And I would hope that would be something they could definitely get right away. But the interactions that we've had with the board members have been really, really positive. We're all in this together. So they're just asking for us to have a few ideas. They're not being shy about reaching out and saying, just pray for us. Just do something that's really kind of, anything you might have to give us an idea of what we do. We're not looking just for money. We're looking for ideas of how we can make this better and help us through this. We're in this together. And so that is humbling to have.
That is inspiring, Tim. As a funder, how are you wanting to hear from those that you've given grants to? What kind of communication are you expecting, or how are they communicating with you, and what would you like to see in the future?
Our experience has been that they've been very, very good as far as reaching out to us right away and saying, we're out of our depth, we need the help, we have this immediacy and such. And so they're not shy about asking for our help. We're on their mailing list. All of them that we have amazing tracking systems to know how they're contacting us, when they're contacting us, and any responses that we get back to them. So they are really tracking this very carefully and kind of helping and managing during this pandemic as best they can. We're blessed to be able to support them, and it is nice to be asked, but even nicer to be able to do something for them. Since this initial urgent onset, we know that some of these places have also found other resources. We know that the United Way and Lilly Foundation have really stepped up for our community and helped out hugely. It's a relief, but we still need a little help, in certain places. We're finding a lot of them are taking a breath now that we're in this a few weeks and recontacting us. This is really what's kind of been inspiring. They have, it's humbling. People have been, from boards and from the organizations we support, have just done a simple thank you, a call in an evening, just to say, what you did had this impact on us. We were able to do this and this because of what you did. We're not looking for anything else. All we want to do is say thank you. And again, send up a kind thought, a prayer, just send up something that is, that lifts us up and makes us, respect that type of thing. And so those are the type of things in much of a larger type of thankathon that some people have been doing in a calling tree. That's been kind of fun to kind of see as they are communicating with us.
That is so great. Those impact stories are so important. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. Marcia, what, if anything, are you doing or thinking differently because of the coronavirus pandemic?
Um, we typically our foundation had given grants just in the fall, and we quickly threw that out the window. I mean, we had talked, in this new version of ourselves of maybe going back. Years ago, we used to do it in the spring and in the fall, and we were planning on doing that in 2021, and now we're just doing it now. We gave out our first, round, and a couple weeks ago, we typically, the grandchildren with their allotment, they typically wait till the fall, but we sent a message out to all of them to say it can be at any time. There is no wrong time or, to give this during this crisis. So that's been interesting to see, where they, it's always interesting to see what they pick, but one of Tim's daughters in particular has really noticed an increase in the domestic violence concerns. And so that was one place where she wanted some of her portion to go. We had our first Zoom board meeting, 3 weeks ago. I'd never heard of Zoom, like most of the country. And now I'm on it like several times a week. But that has been a great way to stay connected while being apart. We also are giving serious consideration to giving out more than the 5% requirement for what our foundation is to give. Like everybody else, our investments have taken a hit, but this is a time like we've never lived through, and the need is so great in our community that just sticking to a 5% just didn't seem right. So that's something that Jim and Tim and I have talked a lot about, and I think we'll most likely be going beyond that 5%. And then personally for me with all this, I mean, it was not only keeping up with the emails and the newsletters that I receive, but also like reading the paper cover to cover, reading all these email threads, so that I can really understand other aspects of the ripple effect of the coronavirus that are going on in the community, to see other ways that we can help and reach out. And that kind of led us to a new organization that we hadn't funded before, but I read about them in the paper, had a nice phone call with the director, and typically our foundation, we like to do site visits. We like to establish relationships one-on-one with the people that we are working with, and so I had to tell this one gal, I said, I'll get there eventually. So just
Right
can't
now.
yet. So but it was I've read about them a couple times since giving them the grant, and I think they're doing, it's a community organization that really helps their neighborhood, and it seems like they're doing a great service to the families around them. So yeah, it's just a new way of doing business from a philanthropy standpoint, but the need is so great in so many different areas, and we're just really honored to carry on the legacy of my parents, and really honored to help out where we can. So
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
certainly love what you do, and I know that your mom would be so proud of all of you. You're responding just like she would. That's a compliment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So before we go, are there any things that you would want others to know, or what you're seeing that we did not ask you that you just want to share?
We were talking a little bit, getting ready for this chat, and our board kind of decided what our focus needed to be right now was basic needs, and food and shelter and education, medicine for those who were depending on free and reduced clinics and things like that. And so for us, while there are many organizations that we have supported in the past and we still like their mission, for us right now, if it didn't meet some of those basic need type requirements, we've just asked them to say, let's put a hold on things right now. You know, it doesn't mean we don't believe in what you're doing. It's just that we just felt like the community need of these basic, you know, basic elements of life really were kind of more important. So you know, I guess my advice to nonprofits is don't take it personally. You know, look at the big picture. You know, and know that we'll get back to a more normal, you know, at some point. But yeah, just to know that, you know, what foundations are doing and individual donors, any amount helps, and it's all important.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
As Marcia was saying, I you know, I agree with, you know, what, in what we are trying to do is really make sure that we do take care of things immediately right now. But it's a double-edged sword. Right now, the, you know, donations are down. We realize that they're trying to do more with less, and they're having to make cuts, you know, here and there. Don't give up hope. We are in this together. You know, we can beat this, and we will find that new normal. And we will find that kind of newer and kinder way that we can treat each other in our community. People will remember what we did here, and we have hope, and we have some good guidance from our parents who have kind of instilled into us a need to give back to a community where we have been successful. This has been an honor to serve.
What a beautiful message.
Absolutely. I want to echo what Nancy said. Your parents would be so incredibly proud of you guys as their kids, and the impact in the community, the Indianapolis, and the way that you and your family are caring for the community. So I want to say thank you for that personally, because of our relationship, and also on behalf of those non-for-profits that are out there, the wisdom, perspective, and your insight for carving out the time and sharing with us today. So really appreciate that.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.